Welcome to another Business Spotlight, where we share insights, reflections, and pearls of wisdom from local business owners. My name is Kerry James. I'm a business coach and a facilitator. And on today's Business Spotlight, we have Managing Director of Stafford Rainwater Systems, Mr. Matt Stafford. Good afternoon and welcome to Business Spotlight, Matt.
Hi, Kerry. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, very well. Let's get stuck straight into the first question, if we may, Matt. Yeah. Rainwater Systems, Stafford Rainwater Systems, please tell us how long you've been in business and what area do you specialise in, please?
So we've been in business just over 10 years. We specialise in aluminium roof lines and cladding, particularly in the commercial industry. We do a lot of like housing developments, apartment blocks, hospitals, schools, that sort of thing. We mainly focus on the commercial industry. We don't do a huge amount of domestic, to be honest, unless it's a really big house. and we sort of stick to our field of doing aluminium guttering, aluminium fascias, soffits, cladding systems, brise soleil copings, that sort of thing.
Okay, and who would be your ideal clients then, Matt? Who are you working with within that kind of construction space?
Yeah, we work with the likes of Kia, Barratt Homes, Galliford Try, Vistry, or Countryside Partnerships as they're called now. A lot of Manchester-based firms like Conlon, Seddons, and we get a lot of repeat work from contractors because of work we've already previously completed, and we're building up our repertoire of contracts that we've completed.
Very good. So, who is that? Typically a tendering process or a pitch process? Who are the key people that you're working with? Who are your key contacts in those types of operators, such as Barratt Homes, etc.?
So what happens is when they're looking to place our works out, so they'll send out a load of tender documents with all the drawings in. We then go through the drawings, quote for our materials at tender stage when all the contractors are going to win the project. So let's say, for example, they're building a new hospital in Birmingham. NHS in Birmingham will go out to multiple contractors in the area to facilitate the whole works. Each one will then send us a tender pack of what's required. We will then go through all the drawings. We will quote up all the works we see fit, and then we will submit our tender to all the contractors. And then whoever wins the project, say, for example, Kia, Interserve, or Tilbury Douglas, as they're called now, go in for it and Kia win it. They would then come to us and they go, you priced this project for us at tender stage. We'd like to get you involved in the project. Please, could you come down to site, have a look around? We need to go through the drawings, work out a program of works, and make sure the price is right as well.
Got you. Well, talking about the price, Matt, you know, we're in the middle of 2023 now. It's been a challenging few years. Brexit, import taxes and prices, inflation, interest rates. I'm sure, you know, steel prices have gone up and down a lot. How have all those changes impacted on your industry in general and your business in particular, would you say, Matt?
Yeah, so what we found particularly worrying, you might say, is we have a big issue because we work with contractors. Everything's on like a 30 to 45 day payment terms. So just before COVID and probably from COVID, there was a huge peak in aluminium costs. So it went straight through the roof. So all of a sudden our cash flow takes a huge hit. We then have to go back to contractors and sort of say, look, we priced the project. You then sometimes on projects you're already involved in, you have to hold the rates on. So you've got to take that hit yourself. And it's about building that relationship with suppliers that we use to sort of say, look, can you help me out on this one? We're already in contract and we need some more material, because they will be pricing based on when they've ordered the actual aluminium from abroad, usually comes from Europe. So there's a lot of different impacts that you've got to constantly be juggling to making sure that you're covered, particularly with projects that go on for multiple years. If you haven't necessarily built in for an increase in raw material, then you could wipe out any profit margin that you actually had in the project. So it's really key, and one of the big things we do is keep really good relationships with our suppliers, where they're seeing aluminium going in the next 10 to 15 days or over the next 12 months, because they're on the front line of actual raw material purchases. So it's always good to keep your ear to the ground on that one.
Got you. So pricing, payment terms, cash flow challenges. Apart from those areas, then, Matt, what would you say are the main challenges to your business today?
The main challenges, what I used to struggle with is I haven't been in sort of the industry I've been in the industry for 10 years, but I'm still quite young, you might say. So as we've progressively got bigger and we've taken on larger and larger projects, it may be a personal stigma, but what I've always struggled with is when you go to win these large projects, I always felt like my age hampered me to win them. Like they wouldn't take me seriously. I didn't know what I was talking about, because you're speaking to seasoned veterans of construction who've seen it and done it all for years. So then when we set up, I was only about 23, 24. So it is quite hard to sort of convince 60-year-old construction veterans that, yes, I do happen to know this industry well. I mean, fortunately for me, my dad did a very similar thing to what I do now. In fact, he helped me set up this business. He worked with us for a very long time, showed me the ropes on everything. So I have spent my whole life surrounded by aluminium, which has given me a good grounding. And I think once I get to the site and I'm sat in front of people, I think it's a lot easier to convince them that, yes, we do know what we're doing.
Very good. Okay. And what about aspirations for the business then, Matt? What sort of size and shape are you now, and where would you like to be over the next, say, 5 years?
Yeah, so we've gone from a humble 2 to 3 to 4. We've now built ourselves up to just under 25. We would like to get significantly bigger. There is a sort of a ceiling to how much we can grow, just because we'd like to get possibly to about 50 employees, move to a larger office, take on bigger projects, but then we'd also like to diversify into possibly becoming our own contractors, where we take on small building projects to build, for example, 4 houses, or maybe redevelop a school. And that would be the logical next step for us, is to go into general full construction packages, which, who knows, it's in the pipeline.
Very good. Okay. So coming along to your lessons and reflections as a business owner, you mentioned the challenges of negotiating with more experienced people, etc. But what would you say you've learned? It sounds like you've learned from your dad, but what would be the key lessons? What advice would you give yourself today, do you think, Matt, if you were starting today knowing what you know now?
I'd say the biggest thing that's helped me is the people around you. I think if you get the right staff and you pay them what they're worth, we have multiple apprentices that we don't believe on putting on apprentice wages. They should be on proper wages so that they have the responsibility to take the job seriously. And having a good partner beside you. I've got a fiance who looks after me and always encourages me to strive for more and do better. And obviously my dad, who showed me the ropes. I think having that base around you gives you the confidence and also just the enthusiasm to get up every day and be like, yeah, I can achieve this, I can do this, I should have the confidence to win these projects. And that's the biggest advice I can ever give someone, is invest in the people around you, and they will help you get to where you need to be.
Okay. And are there any lessons or any books or any famous people you take inspiration from? Or any sports coaches or sports people or anything like that?
I love the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. I really enjoyed that book, to be honest. I do like a lot of one big thing I do enjoy is a lot of neuroscience. So I enjoy the molecule of More, which is all about dopamine and what encourages people. And I try to learn from everyday inspirations. My biggest inspiration is my dad, because he's worked his whole life. He works very hard, and he's the sort of person who lights up a room and no one has a bad word to say about him. And it's been a real pleasure of mine to be able to work with my dad, and I'm lucky that I've been able to do that, because together we've been able to build this business up to what it is today. He's retired now. We retired a couple of years ago, but it's still really nice to see where we've come together and what we've achieved. And And he is my inspiration, because that's what he's built himself in the past from the ground up, and shown me everything he's done, and I find it really, really inspirational.
So talking of James Clear, he came to the Action Coach, we have an annual conference, and he came to the one pre-COVID that I remember. He did a half-day session there, and I've listened to him recently on the High Performance podcast. So are there any particular habits that you developed as a result of seeing the power of those atomic habits, so that those small but very important and powerful habits that he wrote about in his book Atomic Habits?
Yeah, so I kind of enjoyed the bit about habit stacking. So if you have a good habit, you try and encourage maybe a bit of a tougher task to do. So I do enjoy a coffee first thing in the morning. I usually try and wait for as long as I can till I have it. So what I do is when I first come in, I go, the habit of the morning is having the coffee. So I need to spend that first hour dealing with the emails and the issues that I know are going to be the hardest ones to deal with. But then after that, I'm allowed a 5-minute coffee. And that's a good way of developing and getting things that might get procrastinated out towards the end of the day. And then it's all deal with them tomorrow. No, they have to be done because I really want the coffee.
Yeah, I sometimes use the opposite kind of example, Matt, whereby I make sure I don't have that first glass of wine, because if I have that first glass of wine, I have the second glass of wine. If I have that second glass of wine, maybe, I don't know, maybe finish the bottle, and then I eat the wrong things, and then I go to bed too late, etc., etc. So it's kind of stacking in the wrong direction. So I know exactly what you mean. That's great. Good stuff. All right. Well, it's been great to hear about your journey, Matt. Just a final question: if there are any potential partners or contractors interested in picking up a discussion with you, what might you suggest as the next step?
Yeah, if you're looking for us to quote some work for you, or you'd like us to take on a project that you have going on, you can email through to our estimating team, which is sales@staffordrs.co.uk, or you can give us a call on the landline. It's 0161 482 9898. We're always happy to help people, whether it's a big or a small project. If it's not something we can take on ourselves, we can always put you in the right direction. And yeah, we're happy to help. We're obviously a family-run company, and we like to look after people. Yeah.
Great. Very good. All right, Matt. Well, thanks ever so much for your time and sharing your story and your input, and all the very best with Stafford Rainwater Systems.
Cheers, Kerry. Much appreciated. Thank you.
All the best. Bye for now.